Hey everybody, I'm Ross Johnson, your favorite co-host. We are here, not quite live, approximately live, at Sound of Tomorrow, WAYO 104.3 FM Rochester. Coming up next, we're going to be talking about Olivia Juliana. We're going to be talking about Nichelle Nichols. Heather says she wants to talk about candy and the moon. So, bless her little heart. She tries. That's adorable. And dolls. Probably should talk about dolls and maybe the water she had. Who knows? It's going to be a blast. That's all I know for sure. That's coming up on Sound of Tomorrow 104.3 WAYO FM Rochester. But first,
Happy New Year's, Ross.
Heather.
Happy New Year.
Okay, it's August 3rd.
Huh?
It's August 3rd, Heather. It's the middle of the summer. In no way New Year's for any country that I can think of, and I, as you know, can think of many.
Time is a construct, Ross. Time has no meaning. To the champanimal!
Okay, here we go.
Raise a glass. Oh, so wait, how is this empty? Why is this empty?
Oh, no. Okay.
Where'd I put that bottle?
Okay, what bottle are you looking for?
The champagne, of course. Did you take it?
We're on a video call. How'd I take it?
Did you?
No, you probably drank it like you literally always do every single time, and then you start looking for more. Why are you drinking champagne at 4 p.m. on a Wednesday?
Because every day is New Year's when you're the champanimal.
Okay. No, actually, every day is not New Year's. That's a literal true fact. And okay, what is the champanimal? Are you now? Okay, are you now the champanimal? Is that what we're doing?
OMGP. You are so good. Jeez, Ross. I know I don't say it often enough, but I love you. You're so smart and so good. Raise a glass to my favorite co-host, Ross Johnson.
Okay, well, thank you for that. It's very sweet.
Do you love me too?
Oh, no.
No?
No. Yeah. No. Yes. I mean, no. Yes. Yes. No. Of course I love you, Heather. Okay, but we have a show to do right now, right? I mean,
Champanimal.
Okay.
Reporting for radio.
Don't love that.
Sir, yes, sir, right here. There's a bottle.
Okay, Heather.
Call me the champanimal.
Okay. Champanimal, I'm gonna need you to have some crackers, some kind of starch that's gonna soak that up, and then pull it all. Just get yourself together a little bit for me. Just a little bit.
Have another glass of champagne, you say? Don't mind if I do.
Okay, so my question is, this entire minutes of my life that I'll never get back now, was this entire thing just a trick to get me to use one of your new portmanteaux?
You guessed it! To the champanimal!
I like how you wrote tweet like that's not already a thing.
I don't know why that tickled me so much.
Okay. You're perfect.
So are you.
You're God's little perfect creature. Hello, everybody. I'm Ross Johnson, your favorite co-host.
And I'm Heather Zykowski, the babe with the power. Welcome back to the Sound of Tomorrow on WAYO 104.3 FM. I have had half a glass of orange juice, so I am sugared up. This is going to go off the rails, let me tell you.
And I have I have literally 80,000 tabs open. So I am, and I was like, I'm just gonna jump right into this thing that I was gonna talk about, but I can't find it. So we're just gonna vamp here for a second because I can't even find the browser window that had the thing. People used to make fun of us because when we'd go into the studio, which we might be doing again someday,
Mm-hmm.
we would have we would have trees that we had killed moments before just so we could print things out and have the stuff. Oh, she still prints things out even though she's at her house and she's looking right at a screen. Okay, that makes perfect sense. Yep, that is definitely worth the environment. So but on the other hand, maybe you've got the right
Yeah,
idea. Heather, I
Ross,
have
what do you have?
I have a culinary. I have a. I think. Would you be interested? Without hearing any of the rest of the story, would you agree to go to a new restaurant in New York City with me?
A new restaurant in New York City with you, my favorite
Yes.
co-host, in a heartbeat.
Fabulous. Well, this is very exciting. So this is you're going to think I'm making this up, but I am not making this up. This is actually this is a real for true story. Um there is a new restaurant in New York City. It's called Gatto Bianco, which
Mm.
you might be able to translate that.
I might indeed. Does it possibly mean Gato Blanco?
No, that's just the same words. That's
No,
just
that was Spanish. Does it mean white cat?
it does mean white cat. Yeah, so this is a new Italian style trattoria. It's going to
Yes,
be
yeah, I
open
said
for
it in Spanish. They have it in Italian.
yes, correct. Sorry, I didn't realize. I didn't realize our translations were a multi-step process. I apologize. Sorry. In the future, I will translate.
Yes.
I will make sure to go from to
Italian to German to English
to
is how I would like you to go.
Middle English to English.
Oh,
Yeah,
you could also do Middle English. You're good at
right.
those.
So this is an Italian style trattoria. It's going to be open for dinner reservations. It's only going to be open as a test later this month from August 11th and 12th. There is going to be so only a lucky few are going to have the opportunity, but I think we
You and
can get in
I.
there given your white cat. This is a this restaurant is actually owned by Purina, and it is a it is a human food restaurant, uh, but it is run by the people who make Fancy Feast. The cat food brand Fancy Feast is expanding into feline-inspired human cuisine.
Wow.
Human-friendly dishes are inspired by Fancy Feast's Medley's cat line, which features options like beef ragu recipe with tomatoes and pasta in a savory sauce. For the cat with discerning taste. The menu was designed by Fancy Feast's own in-house chef, Amanda Hassner, who, um, you know, I maybe or maybe not has experience making food for people. Hassner says food has the power to connect us to others in meaningful ways and take us to places we have never been. The same is true for our cats. The dishes at Gatto Bianco are prepared in ways that help cat owners understand how their cats experience food, from flavor to texture to form, in a way that only Fancy Feast can. So,
So if I go to Gatto Bianco,
mhm.
what I want to know is, will somebody put a little warm water in my food and mush it up into soup so that I can lick it out of the dish?
It,
Because
it says here that Amanda
that's
Hassner will actually do that for you. Yeah.
yeah, because my cat and I were both getting older, and
Right.
that's a trick that I use to tempt his appetite. So I'm assuming that's what they would use, to tempt
Sure.
mine.
Sure. Yeah.
Interesting. So I
Yeah.
guess there's going to be like,
You're not as finicky
oh,
as Nigel though. So
I'm not.
you know, it's a little bit of a different thing.
Yeah, I might
But
not insist upon pate. He will
yeah.
not eat flaked food anymore. I might eat flaked food.
Huh. Well, that's interesting. So, I've made us reservations. Do you
I'm excited.
does any of Nigel's food appeal to you in any way?
Yeah, I get him good stuff.
Okay,
And so I like it when the scent of his food also smells good to me.
sure.
That seems like a good sign.
Yeah. Does he eat Fancy Feast?
He Sometimes he's a little off Fancy Feast.
Okay.
I got him some. It went over pretty well at first,
Hmm.
but then he decided he didn't like it anymore. He's really finicky. He's this is typical with older cats. It's getting harder and harder to figure out what he will and will not eat
Okay.
because I'll get the brands that he's consistently liked
Hmm.
and then he'll decide he doesn't like them and then I don't really know what to do and then I switch and it's a challenge
Yeah.
to figure it out. I'll try just about anything and like just because he's got his kibble and he still likes to eat his kibble, thank goodness, but he likes his wet food and that's important for an older boy. I should keep him eating as much as I can. But
Yeah.
yeah, we definitely run into many challenges. We run into things where he decides he doesn't want to eat unless I like lean right over the bowl and look at him.
Okay.
Like that's what gets him to eat.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering if all of these things happen at this Gatto Bianco restaurant. Like, will somebody, if we're not eating, will somebody come over and go like, come on, and then tap our plates and go, this is for you. This is for
Maybe.
you. And then maybe if we move our plates to the side, they'll move them back and go, this is fresh. This is fresh. I just made this for you.
What's
Because I
weird
have a
about
lot of
that?
conversations about cat food at my house with
Oh,
my
I know.
deaf cat.
I know you do.
Um,
I know you do, which is not at all
yeah.
the same as talking to yourself. Um, I I sort
Oh,
of
I
wonder,
talked.
like,
Oh, no. Go on. I've got a story for you after this.
if you dig down into this, I feel like as we're talking about this, I feel like this raises sort of uncomfortable questions because I feel like the main difference between like cat and dog food and human food, right? When you have something like beef ragu with tomatoes or you know any of that stuff, um, is just like the quality of the ingredients. You know what I mean? So I guess I'd be curious, like, is this just the exact same recipes except you've used you know, a better, more human safe quality of ingredients? And if so, like what's in the cat food? You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And I know we know that. It's not like a secret that they're not putting the same quality stuff in the cat food as they are in the people food. And I guess that's fine. I don't know if the cats really care, but you know, it raises questions in my mind.
Mm-hmm. It does. And that's another thing, of course, I try to do with Nigel is get him like the best quality stuff I can.
Hmm.
And that was just since, he was a little baby cat. That was one of those things where I didn't really want to cut corners because the better you can feed them, like the better things are going to come out.
Yeah. And I mean,
Um,
we noticed with the dogs right away because we didn't know any better, but they had from the rescue place they had them on like the cheapest, you know, whatever, like
mhm,
puppy chow and which I'm sure is perfectly fine, but
yeah,
we noticed immediately and you're supposed to like keep them on that for a little while so they're not completely jarred. But we noticed as soon as we changed to higher quality food, like it changed their coats completely changed and got
yeah,
better, and so there were a lot of things you could see sort of immediately. So it does.
hmm
I mean, I don't know how on the margins, I don't know how much it makes a difference, but I think from like the lowest quality to something more mid range or higher, I think it does kind of make a difference.
I mean, it seems to do right by Nigel, and
Yeah.
it was kind of funny because a couple years ago, I took him to the vet, and it was the strangest thing because the vet was like, "Well, what does he eat?" And I started talking about the dry food, and he's like, "No, I want you giving him meat. He's got to eat meat." And I got confused. I was like, "Okay, I mean, what I don't know how to cook meat, but I can learn like what meat should I cook for him?" And then the vet's like, "No, canned food, fancy feast."
Oh,
And I'm like, "Oh, yeah, he gets that every day." But I just hadn't quite gotten to it.
yeah.
But it was interesting cuz I guess I have that concern too. Like, should I be cooking like chickens or something for Nigel, right?
Yeah, and that's a
But he
thing,
doesn't
but
like chicken sometimes. And he won't eat, like, if I go to make some tuna, he
mhm.
may or may not eat some of that. So it's tough. I wonder if at this restaurant they ever just like, open a can of tuna and just like plop it on a plate for their
Just plop it on a
customers.
plate. Yeah.
Yeah.
And would you immediately scarf that up? Maybe this is good for maybe this would be good. Maybe this would give you perspective on like why he doesn't want to eat the things he does. Maybe it's present. Maybe maybe you'll see things in the presentation or whatever that you're like, oh, I get it. Okay, maybe if
Maybe
I
I
put this
will.
on a bed, maybe if I put this on a bed of lettuce that I'm not going to eat, but still, it's just going to make it more appealing.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he would like a bed of lettuce.
Have you tried putting things on a bed of lettuce?
I have not. I just use those stainless steel plates
Right?
flat to cut down on whisker fatigue.
Maybe. Really? Is that a thing?
Yeah. I guess if your bowl is steep, your cat can't fit its whiskers in the bowl.
Huh?
And that, like, is a bad feeling to the cat's face.
Huh?
And so if you feed them off more like a shallow dish, like I've got a camping plate that's pretty much like a plate, but not completely flat. It's got little edges on it. And that's what he uses for his food.
Well, that is fascinating.
It really is. Yeah, at first when I heard the term whisker fatigue, I was like, come on, what? And then I realized, oh, that does make sense.
So you had a cat story as well. It sounds like.
I had a talking to myself story.
Okay.
So in order to keep
I want you
our
to think about this story. And I want you to think if this is like a good story for the radio. All
I
right.
think it is.
Okay.
I think
Like,
it is because it illustrates
okay.
exactly what you and everybody else knows to be true about me.
Okay.
So the other day I had to reactivate our Google number for this very show, but don't
Okay.
ask me what the Google number is. It isn't our old
No.
one. We lost that when I fell into some kind of fit of depression or something some years ago.
Sure.
We've got a different one. We don't share it
Okay.
anymore. But so I had a snack of crunchy lentil loops,
Okay.
which are loops made out of lentils that are very crunchy. And I took them upstairs to my computer. And from my computer, I used the Google number to call my cell phone just in order to keep the number reactivated. I declined the call from my cell phone, but what I didn't realize was I was leaving myself a message from my computer. So then my cell phone told me I had a message, and I realized, oh no, I just recorded myself alone in my office. And I knew how that was going to sound. And it sounded a lot like crunch, 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 crunch. Then my phone told me I had a text. Then I responded to the text verbally by saying, 7. And then I go back to crunching. Then I look at an email and I go, ugh. I'm crunching.
And now you understand why literally no one ever wants to be alone with you.
It's true.
Because it's worse. It's so much worse than really anything, but not anything. I mean, that's an exaggeration,
I mean,
but it's really because it's not like I mean, I think in a crowd it scales you back, but like I think with like one other person, it's not that different than you just being alone. So it's a similar level of terror and yeah.
And what makes me feel the worst is that if I'm at a party or something, I can often control this behavior.
I mean, sort of. Don't pat yourself on the back too hard about that, but
Sort of. I can kind of control it a little bit.
sure.
I have the vaguest amount of self-awareness. I mean, at the store now, I'm constantly loud. But what I realize is the sound I captured is exactly how I sound when I work in an office.
Yeah.
I am 100% certain. Because I was always the coworker with the crunchy vegetables. And I talked to my computer a lot. And I think people had to sit next to me for years while I made all that noise. Oh, I haven't laughed like this in a long time.
I love how you're talking about this like not everybody already knows this. All the stuff about you because they can literally hear you. Um, yeah. Well, I'm glad you've had a little self-actualization, and I think that's always a positive. Know thyself, right? I mean, that's what they say. So good for
Yeah,
you.
I mean, I've been aware of it. It was just funny hearing it, especially since I wasn't staging it.
Yeah.
Like capturing unstaged audio. I was like, yep, yep, that's what I thought it would be. Great.
Oh, Heather.
So, Ross,
Yes,
are you
ma'am.
considering a career change?
I'm not.
That's good because I don't think this is the job for you.
This is the improv thing we're doing, right? You just ask me a question, and I go, no, absolutely not.
Yes, that's how we do it. Yeah. Uh, well, I don't think this is the job for
So
me
that's the end of
or
that,
for
then, right?
you,
No. Oh, okay. Sorry.
but I saw an article on NPR from yesterday entitled "You Could Get Paid to Eat Candy as a Canadian Company's Chief Candy Officer."
Chief Candy Officer.
Chief Candy Officer. Can you imagine if that were your job title?
That sounds like a dream job.
So, Canada's Candy Funhouse is hiring a chief candy officer, according to a recent job posting, which is, do you love
Hold
all
on.
things
Hold
candy
on.
and
Hold on.
chocolate?
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
All right, I'm holding.
Canada's Candy Funhouse.
Yeah.
That is not a real. This is not. This is. You're going to show up at a warehouse and they're going to kill you and take your organs. Canada's Candy Funhouse is. I'm just gonna. Before you give out this information, I'm just gonna warn our listeners. This is clearly a warehouse where they're going to take your kidneys. So please continue.
I mean, the job can be remote or based in Canada's Candy Funhouse's Canadian or New Jersey offices.
Okay, so you can. They'll drive to your house also and just take your organs. Gotcha.
Yeah.
Okay, that's handy.
So the thing to lure you to the warehouse is, do you love all things candy and chocolate? Are you passionate about confectionery treats and exploring unreleased and existing products? If so, this is the perfect position for you. And the description for this is on LinkedIn. The position pays 100,000 Canadian dollars annually.
So that's like $6,000 American. Okay, good. I
So
can do the math there.
around 78,000 American. Not bad at all. And it can be remote or you can report to the office. And the chief candy officer is going to serve as head taste tester and try over 3,500 products each month. So that's about 113 pieces of candy a day.
That seems like a lot. I mean, that's
so much
that's
candy.
good money for eating candy, but that's a lot of
That's
candy.
so much candy. That's so much candy. And the chief candy officer will also lead the company's fun house candy strategy. That's fun in all caps. House in lowercase. Run candy board meetings and have a say in which products Candy Funhouse will carry. Applicants can be as young as 5 years old and must reside in North America. All you need is a passion for candy, pop culture, and a sweet tooth. Part of the job posting reads.
I don't think a 5-year-old should be eating 113 pieces of candy a day. I'm just going to say it. I don't mean to be judgy. I don't think that doesn't sound very healthy.
The job posting also specifies that the position comes with an extensive dental plan. Yeah, so
I would hope so.
Applicants have until August 31st to apply, and no previous experience is necessary. To get this job, you don't even need to know what candy is.
Okay, so I feel like you haven't gone down the road with me of what the hell is Canada's Candy Funhouse? Like what? I don't
mean company. Don't worry about it.
Do your I mean, I'm not saying your research is faulty, but
it's from NPR. We can believe them.
Is it a store? What is it like? What is it? Is it
I think it's a candy
warehouse?
factory.
All right.
I think it's a factory. I think it's like Willy Wonka or like Nestle or like Hershey's. I think it's a candy manufacturer.
All right.
Yeah, like Cadbury.
Sure.
That's what I'm going to go ahead and say. Yeah, I had some thoughts about this. Wow, this would have been my dream job when I was a kid. I would have been so into this job. 113 pieces of candy a day. I would have been in heaven.
I don't know. I was never, even as a kid, I was never, I mean, like I
I
ate plenty, don't get me wrong. So it's
was.
not that thing, but I was never that big into candy.
I
Maybe because I
was. I
wasn't,
was.
maybe because the one single, like restriction that was placed on me was like we didn't have a lot of sugar, so I just didn't like, I don't know, it didn't, maybe if I had gotten into maybe if I had gotten into candy at a younger age it would be more exciting, but
Yeah.
um
Oh, I loved candy. These days, the thought of having, and I feel this makes me sad about myself. That these days, the thought of
humble
having
brag hashtag coming, here it
113.
goes, go ahead.
No, I wish I would get excited about stuff like I used to.
Yeah,
That would be nice, you know?
yeah. How's that
But
juice?
yeah, no. The juice is so good. I'm on a sugar high with this juice.
I literally, so my listeners, my friend who had a my friend who owns a bakery brought me like
Mm,
2 cases of cupcakes just to be sweet because
yeah.
we hadn't seen them. And and Heather was like, well, I'm drinking juice. I'm a wild woman as well. Um, so it's fine.
I
You don't want to know what I'm doing that's crazy. You ate 14 cupcakes. I had 2 pieces of celery. It's wild
you,
up in here.
you
Um,
stop.
so yeah,
Yeah, so I
I've
wonder
already
who is
applied for
going
you
to
the
end
job at the
up.
candy factory. I don't know. This doesn't seem like a good job, honestly.
I, I mean, I do wonder. I mean, NPR does comment this position would no doubt involve excessive consumption of sugar, which the World Health Organization recommends limiting to 10% of one's daily calories.
Yeah, it's not healthy. You're gonna get sick of candy. You're gonna start to hate candy. So if you like
Yeah,
candy, you're gonna start to hate candy, which maybe is
I
good if you want
know.
to do this for a short time, and then you're like, I want to get off candy. That's fine. And then I also picture, I don't know, like, because I feel like they're probably gonna like make you do stuff, like they're not just either, like any job you apply for when you're
Well,
yeah, and then
remember,
then there's like this creep of like stuff you have to do. This is going to turn into an I Love Lucy on the candy factory scenario very quickly. Take my word
well,
for it.
don't forget,
And they're going to take your kidneys.
if you are the chief candy officer, you will have to lead the company's funhouse candy strategy, run candy board meetings,
Right.
and have a say in which products Candy Funhouse will carry. So already we know the job isn't just eating candy. You're also going to have to undergo extensive palate training, according to the description, which I do wonder. I wonder what that involves.
I'm telling you, it's probably going to involve a conveyor belt and a bathtub full of ice. That's what's going to happen. So don't sue me, Canada's Candy Factory. I'm saying,
Canada's Candy
this is
Funhouse.
I'm saying this is allegedly a scam to steal people's organs.
That's probably a better way to put it.
Yeah. Allegedly.
Funhouse. Candy Funhouse.
Allegedly.
No. The freshest candy shipped fast
Yeah.
from Candy Funhouse. Love candy? Then you found the right place. Our online candy store features over 3,000 different candy items from around the world. Find old candy you remember from when you were a kid. What, like that stuff in my purse that I've kept from the 90s and there's still candy in it and you somehow got your hands on it?
I do. I legitimately love candy. That like I love if they have like old time if they have Mary Janes and that chalky stuff, I'm good.
We do. You and I both do have a shared fondness for any kind of really chalky flour flavored
Right.
candy.
Right. Yeah, if my great grandma was into it,
Yeah. Do you like
I
a
am
Werther's
into
every
it.
once so often? I believe you
I
do, don't you?
love a
I
Werther's.
like
I
a
love a
Werther's.
Werther's. Yeah.
Yeah. A coffee nip.
A coffee nip is delightful. I will
You'll nip a nip.
I will nip that nip.
How about a cinnamon disc?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Not my favorite,
Yep.
but I'll go for
Not
it.
my
I'll take
favorite
it.
either.
I'll take
I
it.
might. I might say yes to your cinnamon disc.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I like those
Anything that maybe my parents had in a weird cellophane bag stuck in the pocket in the door of like the car they had when I was a little kid.
right. I'll take a Starlight Mint. I don't give a crap. I'll do it.
Butterscotch disc.
Butterscotch disc all day long. If this
Yeah,
job was about 113 butterscotch discs, I call me. You can have my kidney, and I will do it.
yeah, yeah. So any kind of disc you'd pretty much be into. Because I don't think there are many
Sure,
disc candies being produced these days.
sure. If it was 118 Necco wafers, no problem.
Yeah, Necco wafers. I liked those. Those
Yeah,
kind of hurt.
they do hurt a little bit.
Yeah, those were
I
pretty
feel like
good.
you gotta work for it. You know.
Yeah, so I mean, this candy tester job might also be really stressful. Like some of these candies hurt.
Right.
As is well known here on the Sound of Tomorrow, root beer barrels do immediately turn into a mouthful of razors.
Yep.
You might encounter that.
Go home bloody. Yeah.
Yeah, you might. But I just thought, I don't know. For some reason, the article just grabbed me, and I wanted to talk about being the chief candy officer.
I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
You know what? On that inspiring note, since you've inspired me with candy, um, I was wondering if you would like to discuss some inspiring women.
I sure as heck would.
My computer just made some like horrifying beeping noise. But I think
Your computer is like, okay, fella, too many tabs.
I think it's a
Too many tabs. I've
I
reached
think
my
I
limit.
let her hit a button. So got two inspiring women. One's alive and one's dead. So it depends
Is
on
one me?
it's three. That's three. So one alive, one dead, and one
Yeah, I was
indeterminate.
gonna say, which one am I?
You're like
I've been dying to find
you're
out.
like Schrodinger's cat lady. We don't know. We haven't opened the box. So I want to talk to you about a young woman named Olivia Giuliana. I think a lot of people might have heard of Olivia Giuliani. So, Giuliana. So she's 19 years old, and she's been an activist for some time. So recently, so what she's become famous for very lately, and it's super cool. So Matt Gaetz is a Republican Florida congressperson who's really just he's just the worst. I mean, really just awful, just an awful person. So he went on a tear at a recent just to give you an example of the kind of terrible things he does on a regular basis. He went on a tear at a recent conservative conference where he talked about how he was talking in context. I don't want to quote any of this stuff because it's really gross. But like he was talking about in the context of abortion, you know, he was doing the thing about like basically why are I just want to make very clear he said it in much worse terms than I'm going to, but basically like why do ugly fat women worry about abortion? No, they're not going to get
Oh
no one's going to
no.
impregnate them anyway. But like much
Oh
grosser than that, like much
no.
more
Yeah.
specific. Um
Oh.
you know, and this is a congressman. This is also, by the way, this is, I guess, neither here nor there as far as this goes. This is also a congressman who is currently under federal investigation for having engaged in sex trafficking with an underage girl. So, um, and coincidentally, maybe not. There's an anti-human trafficking bill that recently passed the House of Representatives. It was a reauthorization of a set of laws that have existed since 2000, which always sort of get repassed with no real opposition. So it passed 401 to 20, and he was one of the 20 Congress, all Republican Congress people in the House who voted against this anti-human trafficking bill. Um, and is also coincidence that he's under federal investigation for
Hmm.
human trafficking. I don't know, but anyway, so that's this. That's the one side of the story. So Olivia Giuliana is she's an activist, 19 years old, and she had decided to sort of do something about this and do something about this person and do something about everything going on in reproductive rights in the country. She said she had tweeted, a sitting Republican Congressman, Matt Gaetz, decided that body shaming a teenager was okay. He had gone after some specific people as well. So despite him, I raised $1 million in donations to abortion funds in under 72 hours. So she she basically talked about this on Twitter, talked about Matt Gaetz, talked about the things he had said to other people. He had sort of jumped on her. He had basically he mocked when this started, he mocked a picture of her. And that's
Mm.
sort of how this started. I'm sorry, I got ahead of myself with the money raising a little bit, so I apologize. But he had mocked a picture, her profile. She had commented on his speech. He responded by mocking a picture of her Facebook of her Twitter profile, which is just a picture of her.
So, just so I'm clear on this, a grown man, an elected official in the United States government, decided to mock a Facebook profile picture of a teenager?
Yeah,
Is that what I'm understanding?
Twitter profile picture, but yes,
Twitter. Okay, good.
yep,
Good. That's mature. I'm glad to know that our elected officials are taking time out of their busy work days to mock teenagers.
yes.
That's
So
great.
so she decided as a result to she started raising money in Matt Gaetz's name for a group of groups that provide that assist with abortion related care. At one point, she had the hashtag trending. I think Matt Gaetz is pro abortion because she has raised so much money in his name.
Mm-hmm.
She has raised, so within the first 72 hours, she raised about $1 million. In
Wow.
the less than a week since, and I'm trying to remember when this started. It's been about less than a week. She's up to, and again, it's not just her; it's everyone who's contributed, of course. But
Mm-hmm.
she's up to like almost $2.2 million. Um, which is, that's real money.
That's great. Oh, that's
That is
real money, absolutely. And he
if
must be furious.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't even know. And these
This is a grown man who stooped to the level of mocking a picture of a teenager. You know he's furious.
is he
This is
furious or do
not
these people have any I mean, do they care? I mean, does he care at all? You know what I mean? Does he care about abortion? Does he care about not abortion? Are there I'm not convinced these people have any principles to where they could get really riled up. Like, do
No,
they just get
I think he's furious about a teenager having bested him in this way.
well
Because she
that
is
may well
now
be the case.
effectively making fun of him.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's a person who's gracious enough. If he couldn't take a critical comment on his speech without resorting to making fun of a teenager's picture,
Mhm.
I really don't think he's going to feel good and be like super zen about a teenager really publicly making fun of him and having a good joke
Yeah.
at his expense.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
very
less about the
possible.
money for abortion, more about the, oh, she got you. She owned you.
And it's really like on social media this has been sort of a bright spot because this
Yeah.
is such an I mean, whatever your political persuasion, I don't know how you can defend you know a a elected political official who's going around mocking children for being ugly and fat, and and in the context of reproductive rights. And I mean, I don't know how you can defend any of this. And again, the things that I've described he said, what he's actually said, are
Mm-hmm,
so
mm-hmm,
much
mm-hmm.
worse. It's very specific.
Oh,
It's just
disgusting.
it's extremely ugly. And so this has been a rare, I think, bright spot. In watching these numbers creep up has been such a
Mm-hmm.
rare bright spot because it is such a, it is such a, let's take something ugly and turn it around
Right.
into, again, $2.2 million and counting. And before I forget, so if anyone's interested in finding out more about that, you can check out Olivia Juliana's Twitter feed at Olivia Juliana, just at Olivia Juliana, or if it's a little easier, at Gen Z for Change is another Twitter handle, or genzforchange.org. So it's what she's raising for. She's the strategist for a youth-led nonprofit working to educate Gen Z and others and create tangible change on issues that disproportionately affect young people. And this, what the fund that they've put together is raising money for 50 different abortion funds. So,
I love it, and well done.
I
That guy is
mean,
really owned. Like,
it's and in the best way possible, because it's not,
yes,
you know,
she didn't even
some,
have to be mean.
no, and she's had a couple of sassy tweets, but it's not that, like, there's so much of what we so much of what we think of as progress sometimes, or like we've done something, is like some politician tweets something terrible, and somebody tweets something sassy back, and it's this and
Mm-hmm.
it's this
Mm-hmm.
and you're sort of like, oh, owned him, but it doesn't really do anything. It's all
Yeah,
just in
this
a
is
bottle, like nothing's
doing
really
something
accomplished.
concrete.
Maybe somebody one upped, but this is like tremendously. It's amazing to me. It's, again, it's a rare bright spot, and it does it um does it fix the world? No, but it's
Mm-mm.
certainly inspiring to me. So this is I am I find it delightful and wonderful and inspiring.
Mm-hmm. I like it. I'm all for it.
um Speaking of delightful and wonderful and inspiring, Heather, Nichelle
Yes,
Nichols died.
I know. I'm so
How sad.
sorry. Yeah,
I
I've been thinking of you and of Mike since I read the news of her passing. I know
what
she
a
is awfully
lovely,
important to you too, and to a
yeah,
lot of
well,
people, to
and
tons of people, but especially to you
of
too.
course, important as an icon, and someone that we've sort of been lucky enough to have
Mm-hmm.
met and interacted with several times over the past few years, including this past December. um we were at her retirement party, and it was,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, she's had health struggles in the last few years, so I think this was, you don't want to say it's coming, but I think it was coming. I think it was coming. So, and like you had said when we were talking about this before the show, I think such an impressive life.
Mm-hmm.
It's sad, but it also feels very fulfilled. I mean, it doesn't it you don't feel like it's a life where you don't feel like anything was left on the table. You know what I mean? Or
Yeah.
everything was on the table. I don't know. I don't know how metaphors work, but it was a beyond the Star Trek stuff, which everybody knows. I mean, a actor, a dancer, a theater,
Mm-hmm.
a theater person, an activist, someone who was up close and personal with Martin Luther King Jr. And there was a recent documentary, which I think I talked about on the show, called Woman in Motion, about, so this documentary is about, and it's so good and it's so inspiring. It's basically, so in the 70s, Nichelle Nichols was, I don't know if it's framed this way in the movie, but I mean, in my mind, it was basically like, here's Star Trek's Lieutenant Uhura, who is looking around, who is looking at the future and seeing what the future is looking like. And she's like, why, why are we going to wait 300 years or whatever Star Trek is set in to have that sort of diverse future that is promised? And she's seeing it's not there. And she's very, she works with NASA, and she wasn't like, it's not like NASA called her. She basically went out and was criticizing NASA for not doing any outreach, not doing enough to sort of bring Black people and Asian people and a more diverse faces
Mm-hmm.
into NASA, women, you name it. And then NASA called her and was like, okay, so what should we do? And she was, and she said, you need to get, well, first thing you need to do is like try to do something, like putting up a poster or whatever, in the break room is not whatever you're doing now
Mm-hmm.
is not, it's not nearly sufficient. And the first thing you could do is probably to get somebody credible that people would listen to talk about this. And they were like, hey, what are you doing?
You busy?
And she wound up, and she gave them she basically gave them a set of guidelines, like, if you've got to be sincere, you've got to do these things, and if you don't, I'm going to call you out on it, even if I'm speaking on your behalf. And then basically dropped everything else she was doing to do this recruitment stuff for NASA, and again, at the same time, putting pressure on NASA to be like, no, you have to follow through on this, or
Mm-hmm.
and sort of not getting into trouble exactly, but NASA being like, we don't know if we want you to do this anymore because this, you're coming back on us. I mean, that kind of thing, to have that celebrity and use it in such a positive way. And it really, like, the, NASA from the time she started that to NASA after, sort of, there's almost a before Nichelle Nichols NASA and an after Nichelle Nichols NASA, and they are not even remotely the same. I mean, it goes from like all white men
Mm-hmm.
to, you know, still a lot of white men, I'm sure, but very
Uh-huh.
much more, very much more. I mean, it's just that's such an impressive thing to me. Uh, Again, to have that celebrity because you're on a TV show, and then use it in just the
Mm-hmm.
perfect right way, and use it in just the right, to just the right degree, and to know, I guess, to know your power too, to say, this needs to change and I'm going to change it. And
Yeah.
with no sense of like, hey, NASA, let's be friends. It's like, no, you got to do it,
Mm-hmm.
or you're not going to have me. I'm not going to be here working for you. So, and I mean, just so, and all the times we have encountered just the most sincere, gracious,
Mm-hmm.
person. At the retirement thing, her nephew was talking about how, like, he would always, he was very close with her growing up, and then as he got older, like, he would start to be like, a couple times he was like, well, okay, I'm going to be the man now. They'd be out to dinner and somebody'd come over and be talking to her like, oh, Lieutenant O'Hara, I love you. And he said he would sort of be like, hey, we're trying to eat here, and she would knock him down, like, not literally knock him down, but she'd be
Mm-hmm.
like, no, these are these are, these are fans, these are people that, appreciate my work and love, she loved people. I mean, she loved the
Yeah.
people who loved her work, since, like,
Mm-hmm.
with absolute, I have no doubt, complete sincerity. Like, it was just, those were her favorite people in the world. So, her poor nephew's like, I was just trying to help, and she's like, no, you
Yeah.
don't talk to my fans that way, basically. Like, nephew, who do you think you are? But, um, yeah. So, again, a life really well lived. And so,
Mm-hmm.
I like that I like that there's a lady on a show that I like, who's also an incredibly cool person.
Right.
That makes me like the show more, I guess, which is
Yep.
not, neither here nor there really, but when it comes down to it. But, um, yeah, what a life. One of my, I'll just throw out, this is one of my favorite things about her. So, like, anytime you'd hear an interview with Nichelle Nichols, there would always be this, like, especially if it was like a podcast or a radio thing, it was like there was this angelic choir in the background, because she would always wear these, like, fabulous, like, just a million, like, fabulous bangles and, like,
Oh,
necklaces and things like that. So every time she'd move, you just hear this, like, choo choo choo, like, would
yeah.
like gentle wind chimes. It was like such a, like,
Beautiful.
I mean, you can't do, come on, come
Oh,
on, come on.
yep. Yeah, she definitely had a really, really rich career.
Yeah.
And everything I've seen is just like completely understandable outpourings of love and admiration and respect. And it's it's really sad that she's passed away, but she definitely, I think before we started, I said she had a life well lived and very loved.
Right. Yeah, I mean, you don't feel like you could do much better.
Yeah.
And as I responded, I was like, I'm
Mhm.
doing much worse right this minute.
I
So,
know.
like,
Yeah. I mean, right?
um, yeah. So, I don't know. I would certainly recommend, beyond, beyond the Star Trek stuff, that the Woman in Motion, which is streaming in a bunch of places, really, like, not just about Nichelle Nichols, but an excellent piece of, just history and how these things, it's a good story of the way these things don't just happen. you know a
Hmm.
lot of the progress we've made, sometimes you lose track of the steps along the way.
Right.
You're just like, oh, it was sort of a gradual thing that just kind of happened. You sort of, sometimes you get that in your head, and then sometimes you have to go back and realize, no, people like worked hard to make that happen. And it reminds you that,
Right.
it reminds you that you can't just wait around. You have to
Mm-hmm.
do what you can to make progress and make change. So, you know, yeah, sad, but like you said, what a life, what a presence.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like this is the couple years where I'm really questioning my decision to have all my favorite celebrities be in their late 80s and 90s.
Yeah.
Like I feel like that's a really like I should have spread that out a little bit more. Like I should have
Uh-huh.
planned that better, But
That is tough.
what are you
It
gonna
is
do?
tough.
What are you gonna
Yeah.
do at
I
this point?
mean, you've been a fan for such a long time. There's not really any going back.
Right, right.
Ross, have you ever
Yes, ma'am.
wanted to live on the moon?
Although Olivia Juliana, I'm a new fan of, and she's 19. So
There you
there you
go.
go. Have I ever wanted to live on the moon? Kinda.
Right? Well, let me tell you, your chances just got a tiny bit better. This is according to an article reported by Shanine Miranda for NPR entitled Parts of the Moon Have Stable Temperatures Fit for Humans, Researchers Find. And turns out the moon has pits and caves where temperatures stay at roughly 63 degrees Fahrenheit, making human habitation a possibility, according to new research from planetary scientists at the University of California. And I didn't really know the temperatures on the moon. I guess I didn't even think about it all that much because when we're there, we're in our spaceship, we're protected and whatnot.
Sure.
But much of the moon's surface fluctuates from temperatures as high as 260 degrees during the day to as low as 280 degrees below zero at night. That doesn't sound very comfortable at all.
No.
But in these caves, it's 63 degrees. And the caves could also add some protection from where did they say it? They might get protection from radiation, stuff like
Radiation.
that.
Yeah.
Cosmic rays and micrometeorites.
Mm-hmm.
So it does say in the article that NASA does not have any plans of sending anybody up to live on the moon right now. But several weeks ago, we also discussed how researchers have found some forms of kale that can be grown
Live on the
in
moon.
Earth's, in moon soil, in lunar soil, or an approximation thereof. And now they're finding these caves where the temperatures are stable. So it looks, more and more like it could be possible. Well, of course, it says there are plenty of other challenges, including growing food and providing enough oxygen.
Yeah.
But it's kind of exciting to think about.
Yeah. Absolutely. Absolutely. No, I love that. I don't know. I don't, I guess we should just, I guess objectively, we should probably just take care of Earth. But I don't know. I like the idea that people could be on the moon someday. I think that'd be super fun.
Yeah, as much as you're definitely right. Like, there's plenty right here on this planet we occupy right now
Yeah.
that needs to be addressed in all kinds of ways. For human survival on the earth, for society to function in any way at all. But I don't know. As though people listening to The Sound of Tomorrow, ostensibly a sci-fi podcast, hasn't been that for a long time.
Oh yeah, remember that?
Yeah. Remember when we used to be sci-fi comedy?
Oh yeah.
That was fun, wasn't it? We used to be funny.
I guess that turned out to be limited. I don't know.
Oh, that or people change. But still, it's always so neat to think about, like, wait, there could be somewhere people could go and live on the moon.
Right.
Or, there's still, I think, plans to have people go and establish a colony on Mars.
Well, and I think, I've never believed you can only do one thing. So I've always felt like I don't, when people do things that are forward looking and sometimes like, what about the people here? I don't know. I feel like I don't think there's any, I have absolute faith that humans can do it all.
Mm-hmm.
I don't have faith in us to have the moral compass. And I have less
Right.
faith in us to like make that choice.
Yes, I believe we
Oh,
can do it all. I
yeah.
don't believe we will do it all. I think we
Yeah.
could.
I think we could. I think we absolutely could. I think that's.
Yeah.
I think I would be less depressed about humanity if I didn't feel like we could do it all. And was like, well, we're doing the best we can.
Right.
The fact that we're
No.
not doing the best we can at all is like
Yeah, like
that's the depressing part.
like the depressing part is we're actively making choices to not do it because we
Right.
know we could,
Right.
but we will not.
But we're like, what if an immigrant gets some
Right.
of that?
Right.
What if I make a limitless
What
amount
if
of
a
food?
woman gets to go live on the moon?
Well, that's it. You're like, if I make an unending limitless amount of food, the undeserving could eat some of it.
Yes.
So I'm not going to.
And I
It's
get
like,
to say who's undeserving. Like,
right.
what? Yeah, I
Yeah.
don't know.
But no, I
It's
let's
exciting.
live on the moon.
It's exciting to think about. I think it's a great idea. 63 sounds a little chillier than I like it, but I'll bring a sweater.
Yeah, bring a sweater, you'll be fine. And you
Yeah, I
can go
think
up to
so.
the really you can creep out to the really hot part. You can like, go to the you can sort of dip your toe in the 200-degree part for a minute.
Yeah, I can
Warm
put on
up.
my protective suit, but still go and just like lay out for a little bit. Warm up that way.
Well, everyone, we're here to tell you this has been an hour that you've spent.
It has. I think it's been a little more fun than we sometimes are.
Yeah, sure. I think that's probably not for us to judge.
So I'll
but,
see you at Gatto Bianco, Ross.
See you at Gato Bianco, Heather. And remember, make every feast a fancy feast. That's our new slogan. Bye, everybody.
I toast to you, Ross, to Wayo, to the sound of tomorrow, to the mighty space bridge. Most of all, good riddance to 2022.
Yeah, I guess I can get behind that.
And to the champ animal.
Oh, burr, burr, burr. All right. That's enough.